today is going to be an interesting day because I talked a bit about some gaming related stuff yesterday, and then all the Microsoft leaks happened. And there's one that's not getting a whole lot of news coverage, and we're gonna have to take it with a grain of salt. But it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Daily Cup of Genre here on the Genreverse YouTube channel and Genreverse podcast network, available on all of your favorite podcast apps. Please do give us a follow if you're listening to us on one of those apps, or of course subscribe to the Genreverse YouTube channel, because there is a lot of great content on there, and it would help if I had the browser being captured, wouldn't it? There you guys go. LRMonline.com every day for all written news, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and more reviews. All sorts of great stuff. Comics, anime, as you can see here if you're watching us on YouTube, a trip around LRMonline.com in the morning. Stories about Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie, Ian McKellen coming back to the Marvel world, of course, because the MCU, for some reason, needs the Fox and Sony stuff, even though we used to say give the rights back to Marvel for a reason. But anyways, Loki DVD coverage, My Hero Academia having a special episodes English premiere at New York Comic-Con, all of that at LRMonline.com. And you know what? This guy, Kyle Malone, wrote this article about My Hero Academia Season 6 special episode, UA Heroes Battle. So I'm going to talk about that one first. New York Comic Con is coming up this next month, October, and Crunchyroll is hosting this premiere for this special episode. Now, I'm not the world's biggest My Hero Academia guy, but I know a lot of people out there are. So the cool thing about this is not only are you getting a chance to see the premiere of this English dub episode, where it's basically like Yu-Gi-Oh! Meets My Hero Academia. They're going to be playing a battle game, but also attendees will get the chance to get special character cards for the My Hero Academia collectible card game by UVS Games. So a lot of really cool stuff right there. If you're going to be at New York Comic Con, be sure Empire Stage, October 13th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out the dub, check out Crunchyroll and what they've got going on. Another story, Loki DVD, Season 1 DVD Blu-ray releases some details. It's about what you would expect. You're getting that, plus some of the extras they've shown on Disney Plus, such as the Assembled, some deleted scenes, gag reels, and look, man, that book looks great. Steel case, I'm down. I mean, I'm not the world's biggest MCU fan right now, but I did relatively enjoy Loki. I am really curious to the Mando Season 1 and 2 disc sets, because that I really did like. And then lastly, Ian McKellen coming back for Secret Wars as Magneto. Yeah, everyone's coming back allegedly. My Time to Shine Hello, of course, has a decent track record. However, they've been saying a lot of stuff over this past year, and a lot of that stuff's been delayed, canceled, move around, writer's strike, actor's strike, and who knows how much of this might be true when all the dust settles. Who knows if we will even see Avengers Secret Wars. But take that for what you will. It's a thing. It happens, and you can find all of those stories, like I said, at LRMonline.com and more. So please do check out the website regularly. Xbox leaks, guys. A lot of stuff happened yesterday, and a lot of tech YouTubers with tech-based audiences already broke down a lot of what's going on. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the tech side, but basically the way I understand it is Microsoft had to load some things up for the court. The court posted this stuff publicly. People took the stuff from the files, and then they were like, hey, some of those Microsoft and others involved were like, some of those files weren't supposed to be public. And so the FTC took those off the court website. And yeah, what we got is a look at Microsoft Xbox through 2030, basically, including plans and projections, some information on the alleged, we will say, Xbox Series X refresh. I am pulling these from a website, WCCF Tech, because they are related to a story that I'm going to continue on with. But these can be found all over the place, Verge and fracking, literally everyone. So check these out. These all match others. No disk drive on this, and that's one of the things that I had mentioned yesterday about physical media. And here we learn that the next Series X, while not going to be a Pro, more like a Slim, is not going to have a disk drive, and that'll go into part of the other story coming up. And for me, guys, game preservation, that's one thing we talked about yesterday, right? You remember that? The ability to have games that aren't delisted, taken off of a store closed, which will feed into our next part. This is a bad idea, and I know tech YouTuber Austin Evans on his breakdown of this mentioned the PS5 Pro allegedly not having a disk drive and the potential for there to be an external disk drive. He had said that he thinks that might pop up for this system as well, which is fine, but that's still a dangerous thing. One, disk drives aren't super expensive, and they don't really take up all that much space anymore. I mean, yeah, they take up space, but we've had thin models before with disk drives, so it's kind of anti-consumer-y in two levels, because one, they get to make money on a peripheral for you to play your existing games on the updated console, because that's a big thing about Microsoft, right? It's a big thing about Microsoft is the fact that they've got I lost my thought. I'm sorry. So the two kind of anti-consumer things. One, you've got the elimination of the ability to maintain control of your game through having physical copies, and two, they get to charge you more money for the peripheral for you to play that. Xbox's whole thing is backwards compatibility. There's my thought. Brain damage, guys, isn't it a wonderful thing? That's the whole thing that they loved to rest on, was backwards compatibility. Put our discs into almost any one of our systems and it'll play, past discs into future systems, not future games, or current games into past systems. So it sucks, guys. It really does. I cannot express enough how important physical media is for you, the consumer. Actually can be beneficial to the developers, and is even good for your local businesses. We've mentioned local businesses that deal in retro games, retro systems, repair and maintenance, getting your discs resurfaced and all of that. And one of the things, like I mentioned, my current desktop has no CD, DVD, Blu-ray drive. My NAS, which used to be my desktop, does. And I can buy an external enclosure, bring it in here, and I'm good to go. But I can also, with PC, and why I said subscription services are a little different for PC than they are consoles, because a local storage of game files, not necessarily reliant on a game store. I can copy my own ISOs from games I do have on disc, and all legally, of course. It is a bit different, but there are still risks, and I'm still scared. What happens if something happened and Steam shut down? Like, it seems like an impossibility. But we thought a lot of things were impossible before 2020. Before 2016 even, and I'm not even getting into the politics of it. Just a lot of stuff in the last let's say 10 to 15 years, we would have never thought possible, business wise, social wise, like everything. So don't be too crazy. One thing I will say about the Xbox leaks is apparently the Series S will eventually become standard with a 1 terabyte hard drive. And I should say it's about freaking time. Everybody, everywhere, 1 terabyte, not Sony's stupid 800 and change or 700 and change. Everyone should have 1 terabyte standard. As a matter of fact, 2 terabytes is getting fairly cheap enough where that for the next gen, like true next gen, should be standard. Games are huge. So I'm not going to get into all the technical stuff, but I will say this: Phil Spencer came out and addressed the leaks. Said all the stuff that you expect a leader to say in these types of situations. Talks about the incredible work the team put together. They don't want people to find out about things the way that they have, and says in a tweet, "We will share the real plans when we are ready." And yeah, all of the stuff that leaked should be taken with a bit of a grain of salt. Even though they are court filings, they are old. Some of them date back to the early days of this whole court case, couple of years, and take it with a bit of salt. But I mean, some of these things are going to change drastically. You know, the ones dated for like 25, 27, 30, but some of the stuff for like 23, 24, I don't know if you're really going to see too much not be real plans. So yeah, Spencer getting out there. One thing Spencer didn't discuss is something that website I brought up, WCCF Tech, who when I looked them up, have been around apparently since 2004 as a forum. I'm not as familiar with them as I am other outlets and forums. I couldn't find anyone else other than like GameRanks and some other lesser known, not that GameRanks is unknown, but on website side of things, not necessarily YouTube side of things, that I at least was not familiar with. Okay, so take this with a grain of salt, but allegedly during these proceedings, an FTC lawyer showed this particular chart, which talks about Game Pass subscription trends, hopes, dreams, and asked Spencer about it. All right. So this is allegedly from Spencer's remarks in this case about that. And bear with me, I'm going to read some of this for the podcast audience, but doing all of this, I remember the brain damage thing, so reading out loud, believe it or not, can be difficult. So bear with me. This is Spencer. Allegedly, I do not believe that it is that is what the future Xbox business would look like. And this is going into the year 2030. This is a presentation from our devices organization to the gaming leadership team. So this is the view from the team that is chartered with building our hardware on what the future business would look like. I can fairly safely say that if we do not make more progress than this off console, that means non Xbox hardware holders, people like me, PC users, I don't have Game Pass. We have 4 desktop computers, or 3 desktops and 1 laptop in the house. None of us have Game Pass for them. Sorry, I can fairly say off console, we would exit the gaming business. If this were the outcome, meaning they don't reach their goals somewhere around 100 million subscribers, including a bunch more off platform, they could potentially exit the business. If this were the outcome, I don't believe we'd still be in the business. Goes on to talk about the majority of the customers being found off of their own hardware. Well, that's kind of the whole point with the Game Pass thing. Is one of those things where I've mentioned, Starfield, it's Xbox exclusive. Well, hashtag PCMR, as the kids would say. I'm joking, okay? But seriously, PC, I can do it. Why would I need an Xbox? Every game that I could ever want, I can play on my PC or PS5 or my son's Switch, right? I don't need an Xbox, and I don't like the Xbox controller anyways. If I'm playing PC games, 99.9% of the time I'm using mouse and keyboard anywho, and I like the PlayStation controller and the PlayStation exclusive. So I'm set. I don't need Game Pass because I don't want to support the subscription service. I think it's better to buy the games. Preservation. We talked a bunch about that before. So getting back into his thing, I would hope by a majority of our customers are found off of our own hardware. I would hope by earlier than 2030. So when you ask me if I agreed with this chart that the light green and blue, and I'll go back up for the YouTubers, these are projections and what they're hoping for getting towards 2030. Depending on what colors you see there, would have to be much larger, much earlier. I would say by fiscal year 26, 27, that we should be in that position, or we'd have to make a different business decision. Now, something that happened a little bit ago, so sorry I didn't pull up the link, but Microsoft changed Xbox Gold to Game Pass Core, and part of that is to boost up the Game Pass subscription numbers. It's kind of like when Disney's like, oh, hey, we've got all these subscribers, but it's across like 3 different services. There's ways to allegedly spin your numbers. And there's Spencer allegedly saying, look, it's actually more dangerous. And I know I can hear people saying, well, how in God's name would Microsoft get out of this multi-billion dollar industry? 2 letters, AI. That's the new hotness. Nvidia themselves, like, yeah, they're still doing gaming GPUs, but they are making bank on their AI compute cards and stuff like that, stuff geared specifically for that. Like, gaming is like, yeah, sure, we'll keep you guys around as a steady source of cash at this point, but we've got bigger fish to fry. Not that we need a whole bunch of refreshes in GPUs right now. Anyways, that's a whole different mess. It's weird to think of Microsoft getting out of gaming, but when you think of this as a business venture, if they can't compete and if they suffer streaming losses and streaming situations similar to what the movie and television side have, then yeah, you could see them be like, sell all of this stuff off. Nintendo, Sony, who cares? Sell them off to some independent Amazon, Apple, whatever. And let's go and do our AI, our workstations, our work computers, our normal Microsoft stuff. It's not a wholly unbelievable thing, guys. It really isn't. If that were to happen, I mean, look, I'm against Xbox buying up all these studios because I think it's bad for consumers and bad for and Xbox Game Pass will lead to all games being games as a service and all games being reliant, not all literally, but most, being reliant on microtransactions to stay alive. And this whole idea of getting these more games for less money, I mean, some people, yeah, sure, which is not a good business model for the business to give you more stuff for less money, but a lot of people think, oh, I'm spending less, but then they go and spend all this money on microtransactions or subscription services and monthly things so they can get, or a battle pass so they can keep playing the game with new content. We've gone from expansion packs and DLC to ridiculousness. And I mean, do we really need Mario Kart as games as a service? Like, I don't. Do we really need Final Fantasy to be nothing but microtransactions? And I mean mainline games, not online MMO MMO ones like 14. No, I don't need a platformer filled with microtransactions and stuff. Like, it's an apocalypse, man. It really is. And it's scary. So I don't know what will happen. We've seen what subscription services have suffered through in the movie and television industry. I don't know, guys. All I know is that for consumers, the best thing is for Microsoft to let loose of some of these companies, to stop with Game Pass the way that it is. And look, guys, I'm not a big Sony like fanboy like I was at one point, and I jokingly am, because I do enjoy a lot of their games, and I do love the Dual Shock and DualSense controllers. But I'm selfish in this. I'm here for myself. I want to be entertained. I want to have games to play, and I don't want to have my entire gaming experience to be like that on a mobile device, as games as a service and loot boxes, microtransactions, and whatnot. And I think a lot of us out there don't want that, but not a lot of us can see past the, oh, I can get more for less aspect of things. And I mean, look, when something's offered to me, even if I don't necessarily want it offered, if it's there, yeah, sure, I'll take it. Sometimes, not all the time. I don't have Game Pass. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Will Game Pass survive? What would Microsoft look like if they don't hit their numbers? Do they stick with Game Pass but turn it into more of like a PlayStation Plus thing? I mean, what are we gonna look like in the future? All I know is less competition is not good, so I wouldn't want to see Microsoft go completely out of the gaming business, nor do I think they really would. It would just look like Spencer allegedly said, very, very different. Check out LRMonline.com's celebrity interviews, front of camera, behind the camera. There's Gig interviewing people for the Korean movie Moving. And of course, all of our podcasts are available as there as well, and on your favorite podcast apps. Check out the Genreverse here on the YouTube channel if you're watching. Subscribe, like I said. And hey, we do have merch, so if you want to support the channel, you can do that by buying some cool stickers, shirts, mugs, anything like that. I went a bit long today. That's all right, because it's still shorter than other shows used to be. So I'll talk to you next time. Bye.